We are live.
All right. Welcome. This is Discovery of Self. This is an audio recording, and we have an amazing, beautiful guest today. I'm excited to have her. Her name is Morganna Lefay. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, it's Morgana, whatever.
Morganna. Okay. I
Yeah.
want to make sure it's right. Morganna Lefay. And I'm Yana and Kareem, and then Aaron, our other member, will be here in a minute. So, Morgana, we're pretty informal, and I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see what our group is about and, our mission and all that stuff.
I did.
Um, Go ahead.
I did. I did. I looked over one of your videos and read the website description. So,
Okay, good. What do you
oh, I
think?
think it's awesome, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. I think it's, awesome, exciting.
Okay. Yeah, we were excited too. It's the backstories. We've been together since, correct me if I'm wrong, Kareem, for close to 8 months or 9 months now, but we didn't make it public until maybe 2 months ago, our first recording in May. So we've been kind of knowing each other online, and we were like, why don't we just make this, public and stuff? So it's in infant stage. So we're excited about it. So, and this
Yeah.
is going to be odd because I can't really, so I'm seeing a black screen. So if I'm looking over there, I'm not cross-eyed. I just can't see.
That's fine. I don't have a webcam yet. I've never really needed one, but I might get one in the future.
Yes, I'm just probably going to look down or over there or something, so don't mind me. So, yeah, so we just like to hear other people's journey, path on, discover themselves, what they're doing to better themselves, heal themselves. And I seen some of your videos, and interesting, the one I saw last night was on being kind to yourself, and that just
Yeah.
kind of hit home with me. And and you have a melodic voice, by the way, in your videos. It's very calming. So you're talking about bees, and I'll be like, yes, bees are beautiful. So that was a beautiful video. It really spoke to me because it's interesting because we're all on this path of healing and all that
hmm
stuff. So you have the floor now, my darling. So
Well, yeah, that video is new. It's the latest one, and that's basically what I've been going through these past few weeks because, I believe that everybody needs healing all the time. As long as we're here in this dimension of Earth, I think that most people need healing consistently, always, because life is always challenging us. So that's my newest one. I went through something pretty intense after around the time of the blood moon and the grand cardinal cross. I'm an astrologer, but I really don't pay attention to what's going on outside. I pay attention to my own transits only because those are the ones that I think affect me. But this time, I think that it did affect me because everything, my life became so intense and a lot of things started to come out and a lot of negative things too. I let myself get negative and it was quite intense. I was mugged. I was mugged. I wasn't hurt, but the person I was with got punched in the back of the head and they took my bag, but there was nothing in my bag, it was interesting. I had nothing in my bag. I had my keys, my lip gloss, and that's it. No cash, nothing. I put everything in a second bag somewhere else. But it scared me. It scared me so much, and my whole left side, unexplainably, was in pain for about 2 weeks. I didn't get hit or anything, but I was in pain for 2 weeks, and that was a real wake-up call. So that led me to do certain things and take certain actions, and I realized that I needed healing. I needed more healing. So I just started to take certain action. And one of the things that I did was I found, and I like to do this, I find audio, which there's a lot of free resources on YouTube. And I found one by Louise Hayes, Body Healing. I just love, the sound of her voice and just the music. And I've been listening to that every day. and it's working. I think things like that work if you allow them to. So I definitely feel myself calmer with much more insight into my own actions, and I tend to argue less. I think that people get into this ego thing because of Facebook and whatever it is. I don't know. I think I have a different view of what ego is. For me, ego is definitely anything that comes from the mind. Me speaking to you right now, it's coming from my ego, speaking, writing, opinions, all those things. And one of the things that I had to relearn, I mean, I always knew this, but I relearned that being right and correcting people, even if it is true, like in terms of like politics and health, we know all these things, right? About GMOs, all those things. It may be right, but now I think even more like, do I need to say it? Do I need to correct this person? Am I speaking from my heart? And am I speaking from a truth that unites people? Because it doesn't unite people if I correct someone, because they end up feeling, you know, bad, separated, or something like that. So I really learned to stop that, and that's been, very renewing for me in my own life, and it's been much better.
Okay. Wow. What an intro. Okay, you said a lot, and my brain is just like. Ding, 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 ding. So, Kareem, I just want to check you're still there. Okay, he's not back yet. But I wanted to go back and say and kind of and I will touch upon all of that because you said a mouthful and that's wonderful. I actually came across your site by just looking up indigo star seeds crystal charts because a friend of mine, she's in, she talks a lot about that, and I was like, well, let me check it out. So I was just, looking through, and then it's the one where it's like the colors like blue, silver. It's the one that you did,
Right.
talking about indigo and all that. And I just was listening to it, and and plus the fact that you dance, because of my one of my best friends, she's a belly dancer, and I'm a dancer and all that stuff. So I connected. I was like, I like, but I wanted because we had a guest a couple of weeks ago by the name of Indigo Bless, and his name is Keith Page, and he was talking about his transformation, how he came to tap into that and really start to know himself and start to heal himself like you're doing yourself. So I wanted to kind of, if you can go back and kind of let us know how did that process start with the indigo, and even maybe before that, like your history.
Well,
As much.
yeah, I have a very long and very interesting history. Well, I was born in South Korea and I came here when I was 7 years old. But and at that time, I came to this country like 1973. At that time, very,
My end. Okay,
how's that?
that's good.
Okay. So, uh, my life started to completely change definitely after punk rock. That changed everything. I went from like a shy, because I came to this country when I was 7 and I was made fun of and I was so shy. I couldn't speak a word of English and all these things. And then when I discovered punk rock, it just really gave me the license to just, let it all out and just say F you to everybody and just be myself because that was the whole point of the music. And, with punk, you didn't have to be pretty, you didn't have to be anything. It was like you were actually made to be proud of being horrible things, things that people don't want to be, because we were all opposite. And after that, I started to get made fun of. Like hundreds of people used to like follow me and call me punk rocker and all these weird things. But it made me so much stronger. I became very fearless, and I was very open, because I exposed myself to something that most people fear. Most people don't want to be made fun of by hundreds of people and look ridiculous and things like that. But because I chose to do that with my group of peers, it really made me open. I became totally fearless. And because people feared us, because of that whole uh, the mystique that we were violent and all these things. We weren't. We actually weren't. It wasn't true. But because of that, it also gave me the protection because everyone was afraid of me. I no longer had to fear anything. I went on the subway or whatever, all hours of the day and night, and I was by myself. And people just were afraid. They were scared of me and they made fun of me. But, I just stood tall and I just stared them down. And 1 or 2 years later, I saw my twin flame. And I think that's another subject that's becoming very popular. And so, right, it really was my twin. And as far as being indigo, I just realized that I was a few years ago through, the description. However, I had a aura photograph done in the late '80s at the Whole Life Expo, and I remembered it. It was indigo blue. The whole thing was a very intense indigo blue with little spheres of pink and green. And the lady said to me at that time that I'm an old soul and I've done some spiritual work and it's a rare aura, but she did not tell me that I was an indigo. She didn't say that. Um, and I think recently, a few years ago, I was reading an article by the same maker of the Korean photography about the soul leaving the body. And then that's how I came upon Sophia Gubb's article. And then when I read the description, it's like, oh my, that's me. That's so totally me. And that's when I realized that I was an indigo. However, my whole life was because it was so odd and strange. That's how I knew. It wasn't really because of the traits, it's because what I've been through in my life. I always knew that I was very different, and it made me happy but kind of uncomfortable. It was very inexplicable. Like I just didn't understand it. I didn't have internet then. I didn't have any information, which I'm glad that I didn't. I think I was blessed that way because I know that it's pure. It wasn't conscious. It's not intellectual. I didn't read about it. Everything just came direct information from myself, you know, from source through myself. So, yeah, that's kind of like the short version of it.
That's good. That's amazing. We kind of share of like a similar deal because I came from the islands when I was 7, so having
Oh,
no background in English, just having to learn it. I don't know how I learned it, so that's very interesting. And I've always been fascinated with the Asian culture, Asian and India culture because of the spirituality. So and that's kind of another story, interesting because I was raised Catholic, so so that was an interesting thing to kind of have a different feel for spirituality. So that's amazing. Um, so you said you because you didn't have the internet and all of that, which is amazing because then that I think that allows you and that forces you to really look deep inside and just
right. It was pure. Whatever I experienced was pure. I didn't intellectualize anything first. It was all through direct and experience. And that went on for many, many years before I discovered any of these labels. So therefore, I know that because you can never be sure if you read about something and
yeah.
your intellect can trick you in a way. You don't know, am I wanting to do this because I read about it or not? But if you don't know about it and it happens, then it's pure. You know that it's pure. That's how I feel about it. So most
Yeah.
of my experiences happened long before I knew anything about it, which,
Wow. So can oop, I lost you.
hello?
Oh yeah, you're there. Okay. So can you give us an example, an experience that you knew you were different, you knew you were getting this type of information because now people are inundated with like all kinds of gadgets and how can we start to tap away from that and really start to trust ourselves and not have to Google everything or follow a guru or stuff like that. So, what are your
Oh.
take on that?
Well, yeah, those are two questions, but I definitely, I think that people, and especially through the internet, even though I get to meet people who I I sync with. I feel like I have a deeper common bond with them. but and that's great. And I learned things that are useful, like now through YouTube, how to do anything. I mean, it's great. You learn things, but uh, there's kind of like another side, which is I think the intellect, the mind that reads and thinks it knows things and information, that's not the part of the mind that manifests things. It's not the magical part of the brain. The magical part of the brain is more like the subconscious, and that's the part that manifests things. That's the part we have to heal. So when you're constantly thinking and concepts and reading, you're not doing the other way, which is experiencing, looking, and visuals and things like that. So my experience through not having internet around the time was that I realized that I was communicating with people without words, just totally my presence alone. It was just through my presence, eye contact, and just that's all it was. And that for me was my most uh, the communication that I had. So when I was younger and like going through this very spiritual uh, sort of fantasy phase or whatever it was in my life, I realized that all I had to do is just like walk. That's what I liked to do. I just walked around. I would get dressed up, and I presented this image of being like a kind of like an angel, but sort of like a dark angel, because it was easy. You have to understand that it was the 80s, so it was easier to mess with people's heads, right? They didn't know as much now, so it's like you could definitely. Everyone thought I was like, oh, she must be a witch or what, a vampire. And I just used that to my advantage. But the vision I had was something mysterious and dark, maybe, but the vision I had was something very pure and like very beautiful, otherworldly. And the overriding feeling and emotion that I had was divine love. I just was like filled with beauty and love. And that was inspired by my twin flame.
Which we'll get in a minute, because that was another,
Yeah,
fascinating
that's another story.
another interview in itself. I want to check in with Kareem. Kareem, did you have any questions for Morganna so far? I know we're covering a lot. Kareem? Earth to Kareem. Okay. He's probably doing some techie stuff. So, I don't mind. This is great. Um, you talked about the ego, how to manage the ego. That's like probably one of the hardest things for
Yeah.
you.
Well, people think ego is just a high self-esteem or self-image, but that's not what ego is. I mean, if you go on the definition, is ego is the awareness of separation. So it's really only the intellect that thinks it's separated, and the intellect rules speaking, writing, reading, thinking it knows something, because it has information. I know this and I know the answers. That's all of that is ego. But I've been accused of having a big ego, but they don't really understand what ego is. And when someone thinks very highly of themselves or says good things, that's not ego, that's truth. That's reality. That's coming from the part of the brain that's connected to source. And source energy is amazing. There's all the good things are it's God in a way. You could call it so many things. We are that way. We are divine. We're amazing. We're beautiful. We're all these things. So if anybody says that, that's not big ego. But how to get away from ego? Well, it's not something, I know people say to kill the ego, or you can't kill the ego. You have to sort of live with it side by side. But a good way is to realize that information is not the same thing as experience, and intelligence is not the same thing as wisdom. Correcting people or thinking that you know something, even if you're right, even if it's true, that's not wisdom. I think truth is something that unites humans. It's something that everyone understands. And for me, the one thing that everyone understands is love. No
Mhm.
one's going to argue. I don't think I'm going to get an argument with that. It's
Yeah.
divine love, and beauty is an expression of divine love, and people understand beauty. I don't mean like, well, people can be beautiful, but, beauty children are beautiful, sunsets are beautiful, flowers, there's beauty all everywhere. And you won't get an argument with that. So that's what truth is. And that's not from ego. That's closer to not ego. Ego is like, well, GMOs are bad for you and you have to listen to me and you need to be awake and realize the politics, blah, blah, blah. That's, even though it's true, it's kind of ego. And I also, I don't believe in, there's so many guides and teachers and helpers. I, I kind of shy away from that. I think that you should just empower each person to develop their own inner guidance system because each of us we're a part of source. So therefore we are. That's what I fully experience. If you want to call it source or the universe or God, you can say it, but I actually have direct experience with that. So I know that's true. So if that is true, then you cannot really help another person. You can't tell another person what to do. You can't really guide them. I think you can just sort of inspire them and show them how far you're going, like how great you feel about things, life, uh, things like that.
I love how you kind of separated, information is not truth and intellectual is not wisdom, because I think, you know, yeah, because I've been, guilty of saying kill the ego, but that's, you know, a way of me not learning how to balance that or how to work with it, how to separate that, because, people tend to run on their ego a lot. And I, I really gave me like goosebumps when you said about the ego. Like, you don't necessarily have to come and tell people like, well, this is not how it's supposed to be and stuff like that. And I live off of energy, and so
Yes,
whenever I hear someone talk like that, I've always felt uncomfortable. It's like
yes.
they're not, they're not. It just made me so uncomfortable. So
Hmm.
to put that in words into how you described it, now I kind of sense why I reacted a certain way to people, that always had to, kind of correct you in a way, because I live now. I'm finding realizing that I live from that heart space, that energy space.
Yes, it's
So
energy. Energy is much more, it's stronger. That's basically, that's the most effective way to communicate because energy doesn't communicate through ego necessarily. And it comes from the heart. They say that I read recently, and I believe this, that if your heart is very strong and open and radiating, people get that so much more than if you were to tell them something like how to do something or you should do this. They don't it's not as effective and it's not as deep. Uh, so for me, it's always been like that wordless communication. I guess that's why you dance. I mean, dancers, artists, music. Yeah, I think right. They're less intellectual and more like a feeling
yeah,
orientated. Yeah.
and that's a nice segue, because I was gonna really bring that up, dancing. That's why I tell people that that's like I'm at home when I'm dancing, because I really, you know, I can communicate and articulate and everything, but I have to like think to verbalize. Whereas dancing is just it's free flowing, and I can just say everything and anything with it. So that's why I'm passionate. And when I see other dancers, I could be like, ooh, I could pick up on stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, the subconscious mind rules the body. It rules the body functions. It rules sleep, and it controls and manifests your reality. I think that's the stronger part of the brain. And recently, I got this sort of analogy where I think of the subconscious mind as a child, like as a magical child. I call it that, like around 3 years old, and it doesn't argue. It listens what the intellect says. So you could be doing something but if you're telling yourself a negative thing while you're doing something, like anything, you're judging yourself. People say all those things to themselves all the time. I mean, I still do have to stop myself, like, oh, you look like shit today, don't go out, or, things like that. So, but now I stop it because I imagine, now, would I say that to a 3 year old? If I was 3 years old and I thought, like, oh, messy, you look messy, don't go out because you're just unlovable. You would not say that to a 3 year old child. And it's really important because it affects your life, the two parts of the brain, your intellect saying something to your subconscious mind, your magical child mind. Your magical child controls your body, it controls your reality, I think. So, and it's responsible for illnesses or health. So, because of that, I think it's a good idea to be very careful
Yeah.
what you mentally say to yourself.
That's beautiful. That's a great analogy. And I I heard that video too. Yeah, when you think about it that way, it's really hard to say. And I took it a step further when you mentioned that in the video. I imagined my 3-year-old self and my 3-year-old, he's not 3 anymore, my son when he was 3. And it's like, it's really hard. If you really look at it from that perspective, to,
Right.
to that
Yeah,
speech.
you wouldn't say those kind of things. You wouldn't say you're unlovable because, all these things that people say to themselves, and they do, I do it too. I know it intimately, constantly judging yourself and things. And it's not just a matter of don't do it because it's right or wrong. It's harmful to you, and it's harmful to everyone around your whole, everyone around you. And your life will reflect whatever you're saying to yourself, that part of the mind. So that's why you got to be careful, and that's how diseases can develop. So when I was listening to this audio, I really got this feeling and sort of insight into like why people get sick or why I've gotten sick, I have an awareness, like let's say when I was younger, like alcohol, like people can drink, but what is the thought behind when people drink? Sometimes, for example, I'll be in a social situation, and because people have social anxiety, I mean, I have that. So I won't be really having fun. I'll be in a place where, it's not that much fun. But then I'll say, well, let me start drinking because if I start drinking, I will become more fun to be around, And it happens. And yes, I am more fun to be around. But what did I just tell my subconscious mind? I told my subconscious mind, you're really not good enough to be around other people. So I'm going to drink. I'm going to give you alcohol and you need something. It's like, I need to change you. I need to, that's what I'm saying. So if you keep doing something like that with that negative thought, like I'm drinking so that I can stop myself from being so anxious, then that alcohol is very likely to make you sick if you keep on going with that thought. Besides the fact that alcohol is pretty toxic, but I mean, I bring up alcohol because it is it's a big problem. Like so many people drink, and the whole
Yeah.
social thing is surrounded by that. And you know, if you can do it in small amounts and you enjoy it, that's one thing. But I think there's a lot of people who just they do it too much, and it's really not that healthy.
Yeah, it's sort of like mindless eating. People
Yeah.
are just
Hmm.
mindless drinking, harmless, like you said. It's a very social thing, and they're not really, you know, realizing um, what it's doing to them, like you explained internally. Other than that, on just a subconscious level, spiritual level, like why would you want to put anything like that in your body? And then why would you want to drink it for whatever reasons you have?
Yeah.
So that that's
Well,
interesting.
it's not so much, well, alcohol I think is can be toxic, but it's not so much the drinking, it's what you're saying to the reason why you're drinking. You know, if the reason
Yeah.
why you're drinking is to calm yourself down and to make yourself more acceptable in that social situation, then
Hmm.
that's a negative message that you have given yourself. But if you're just doing it because you like the taste or whatever, then, and if you feel totally positive about it, then it's probably not going to end up that negative.
And I
But a lot
think
of
that
people use it
yeah,
just to calm themselves down, and because they're social anxiety. A lot
yeah,
of people have that.
yeah, that is true. Yeah. Nothing numbs you down like alcohol.
Right, and then you become charming and boisterous and outgoing, and you think that you're just more fun. You know, I've
Yeah.
done that to myself. I've been in situations where I thought
Hmm.
like, oh, I feel so tense and I feel very insecure, and let me just drink because then it's gonna make me change me. It's my crutch. So. Because of that, it has affected me probably more negatively than someone else who doesn't think that way. But that's probably kind of rare, but it's
Yeah.
possible.
No, no, that's true. I think if you come for those who are heavy drinkers, alcoholics or whatever, I think if you, and I think
Yeah.
so like that, if you address it from that perspective, I think it kind of helps them to really dig to the root of the problem because more than not, it's not really them loving the alcohol,
Right, it's a
or
crutch.
whatever
Yes.
drug or
And
whatever
it's self,
substance.
yeah, it's self-punishment.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, I'm getting really tingly feelings. So, and my members, I don't know where they've gone, but I'm enjoying this one-on-one. I'm just trying to like visualize your facial features. Of course, I know how you are. Oh, Kareem, you're here. Okay. Is there anything that you wanna? Because it's been like a girl talk. Anything that you wanna ask Morganna? Morganna. There we go. I'll get it straight. Um, Anything that's on your mind? Because I know she said quite beautiful thing, and I'm writing them down, and because it kind of helps me look at things a different way, so we can always learn from each other. And this is what this is all about, you know. Hi, Kareem.
Hello, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you low. Morgana, can you
Yeah,
hear him?
it's been
Yes, I can
it's
hear
been
you.
great listening to you. And the question that I have is, I saw your video where you talked about your twin flame,
Hmm.
and you said that like um you were waiting for him. Like what are you doing to get there?
Well, I'm not waiting. I don't know if I said exactly waiting for him, but what am I doing? I am it's healing myself and making uh yeah, like making sure that I feel good about myself and worthy. It's worthiness because the twin flame it really makes you question that. And because there's such tremendous love for the twin flame, and you will see the twin flame as something, I see him as something not even human. It's almost godly. He's like so everything. He's so beautiful, so talented, so amazing. He never even seemed like a real person to me. He just seemed so much bigger. And what I'm actually seeing is the truth of most people and probably the truth of myself because they say the twin flame mirrors you. I believe that. And even before, when we first met, he made a joke like she's the mirror image of myself. I think that he knew it too in some part of his brain. But the thing is, ever since the beginning, I think one of the biggest challenges for me was worthiness because he seemed so much I felt like I was so unworthy of someone like that. You know, he's so talented, handsome, super handsome, and just he just scared me to really frighten me. I just like he just paralyzed me, and the few times that I tried to speak, I would stutter. Uh, you know, but that's what it is. It's realizing my self-worth and letting go of the lack of trust. That the lack of trust comes from ego, and that's what they say the twin flames touch upon, and it's absolutely true because I feel so totally open and vulnerable to this person, and I do get the sense that he does love me in a way that is unlike any other way that I will have known. That it's so powerful and strong, but there's always that question, but what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't like? What if he finds out these things and he rejects me? And that brings a tremendous amount of paralyzing fear. So that's one of the whole issues that's been the span of like 30 years. But even though I've gotten signs, I've gotten some really amazing and I'm trying to finish the book. It's pretty amazing. The whole story is really, really amazing, almost unbelievable, you know. And no one did believe me. I think that people are open to it now, but when I was younger, it was, oh, she's just nuts, you know, she's crazy. Like, how could she think this? But now I realize, like fast forward 30 years later, I realized that everything I thought and the things that was coming through from source directly to me and was telling me, even though it didn't make any sense, was absolutely true. It was true. So what am I do? I'm healing, and I'm making myself. It's all about self-worth and healing. Like always, like it's self-image. Loving yourself. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's just awesome. I think that's what it's all about. Like in the society that we live in, people think that to find a mate that you have to go out and date, but they don't realize that they have to heal and you have to put in the work. And I think that's just awesome.
Yes. Well, yeah, the twin flame is, from what I read, and I agree, it's like a template of a new and more like a divine and sort of inspired type of relationship, because so far relationships are kind of, like they're kind of heavy. They're based on ego. There's jealousy, and the bonds are really not that strong. I mean, we all know that as adults. It's so easy to break a bond of a so-called relationship, and yet we grow up like, thinking, oh, I'm gonna find a man who loves me for everything I am, and he's gonna love me and only me, and we're gonna be together forever. And then when you grow up, you realize like, it's not. That's not the way it goes. But the twin flame is much closer to that. But because it's closer to that, and it's much higher, spiritual and divine, it's also kind of difficult to bring that down to this level. So that's why there's like usually a difficulty with twin flames, and a lot of them are apart, like for instance myself, and there's a lot of running, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of all kinds of different things.
Uh, like what advice do you have for those that don't believe in this twin flame thing? What if they think that like I guess like a quote unquote soulmate and all that doesn't exist? What advice do you have for people like that?
Well, I don't need to give advice to those people because, whatever they think and feel is their own reality. It has really little to do with me. I don't have to convince anyone. I just have to be the best person I can be, and that's the most effect that I could ever have on other people. you know when I say, like, I'm against like calling other people selfish. When I mean selfish, I don't mean like, oh, I have two pieces of pie and I won't give you one. That's not what I mean. I mean selfish like you're always thinking about improving yourself, healing yourself, you know and that's what it's all about, because that's all you can really do. You have to heal and improve yourself. That's the way you help others the most. So therefore, that kind of selfishness is not a bad thing. But I know society puts a bad, sort of a negative connotation on that. But usually, whatever is on the outside that's celebrated, the opposite is true, because the outside forces want to, take you away from a lot of things, like your power. It's trying to take your power away, the reality and truth, and all these things. But at the same time, I don't blame the outside, because that's just a reflection of, us individually. So I don't really concern myself less. If you think about it, when I'm in my happiest point, in my joy and all these things, then at that time I don't need to correct people. I don't need to worry about what they think. I'm just trying to have as much fun as I possibly can, and feel as much and experience as much beauty as I possibly can.
And one last question. Like with all this, like with all the like relationships in general, I
Mhm.
guess in today, like a lot of them aren't working out. A lot of marriages are ending. Why do you think
Yes.
that is? Do you think it has anything to do with like the twin flames?
Oh, well, it does and it doesn't. But relationships so far, in general, are based on very, very weak bonds. And they're not based on any kind of real, true love. It's just ego needs, addiction to physical urges, just all about the ego. And it's very, very, it's like an eggshell. You can break up a partnership they break up, very easily. I don't think they're breaking up more because of the existence of the twin flame, but rather the twin flame is pushing us towards wanting and being ready and having a much deeper relationship. Just because, well, we're all growing anyway, so I think we're open to that. But I experienced my twin flame, 30 years ago, which I didn't know what that was, but now I kind of know what that is. But it's definitely closer to the ideal. It's someone that you love very deeply. You can't even sever the bond. The bond is so incredibly, well, it's you can't separate. It's like they say. I'm not sure that it really is a part of you. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think that each soul is complete, but I'm still open to that idea. But it doesn't matter. That idea, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. It's just that the twin flame is, there's so much love there, and that love is a divine love. It's very spiritual, so it opens up your heart to love. You just start to overflow. It definitely opens up your heart. It affects your chakras, actually. And I had a Kundalini release, and I'm realizing that other people did too. I didn't even know what that was at that time. I just thought like, whoa, it's that. But my twin flame inspired that too. So for me and anybody who has a twin flame, my twin flame is my mission. He is everything to me because he is me. He is the realization of what I really am. Something like my godliness, my connection to source, everything. It's very unexplainable unless you experience it. But he is my life. He's everything to me. It sounds strange. It sounds sort of codependent, but it's not. Because he inspires me. There's nothing really bad or negative about it, Everything I do is inspired by him, and it's all very positive.
Wow, that's amazing. And uh, that's all I have for now. And if you would like to carry on.
Yeah, it does. Well, I'm just basking in the twin flame because you went right where I was gonna go. So that's awesome, Kareem. And I just wanted to kind of say a funny story about that. Growing up, I used to play with Barbies. Hi, my name is Janif. I play with Barbies, but and I always my Ken or whoever the male Barbie whatever male guy. I always envisioned the male as like extraterrestrial, like he had to be like a werewolf or like some kind of out of this being, and he would come and save, Barbie. So my vision and my, way that I saw my future partner or whatever was like in that manner. So when you were talking about with your twin flame, how he is this amazing person and all these qualities. It's like that's how I kind of thought when I was little. Like this is how it's supposed to be with my
Well,
Barbie.
right. Exactly.
you
Everybody
know,
has, yep. Everybody has that in them because they
yeah,
have that spark, the source. So everyone desires that definitely somewhere.
yeah. And I still believe in unicorn. Thank you. No one can change my mind on that. They exist somewhere. So So awesome, awesome. And I think relationship is, everyone wants to know about relationship, but like you said, you have to start with yourself, you have to really do the work,
Yes.
do the healing, and know that your better self, your complementary self, is out there, You just have to do a lot of internal work.
Uh, right. Yeah. Well, but not everybody has I don't think so. I'm gonna say, not they say, and I do believe it's like maybe 1% of the population has a twin flame right now. But I think that everybody's gonna experience it at some point. And
Yeah.
some people have a twin flame, but they're not in this dimension. It's like they're in spirit form. But only a few people have the twin flame, and those are the ones that were meant to sort of carry it through. That's what I
Mm.
heard, and I kind of believe that it's true. However, everybody has that desire because the twin flame is representative of that desire to be one with source,
Yes.
to connect with source. And so because of that, everybody has that, yes. But for me and for people who have twin flames, it's represented by a person, you know. Uh, and for other people, it's just represented by the actual desire to connect with source or through like it's a spirit. Um,
Yeah. Either way, it's really good. It keeps you striving to be, that better version of yourself. So it's exciting. So I don't mind if he lives in the outer world because I'm always in La La Land anyway. So it works for me. Um, can we talk about natural beauty?
oh, natural beauty. What does that mean? Well, I am not a natural beauty. I have never thought of myself as a natural beauty. I like cosmetics and makeup. Like I like making myself look like the way I want. And then because of that, that improves like my self-image of myself. And then that in turn affects the way I actually end up looking. So like they say, I believe truth is like a very, it's like water. You can't capture it, you know? But self-image is so powerful. So if you, let's say for example, like I make myself this way, like I put jewelry and whatever, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel beautiful. And if I feel beautiful and if I keep on feeling that, I will eventually become beautiful, whether it's now or in the future or in the past, because also the time is all existing now. So, and I also noticed definitely it's true, like you change physically according to the way you look. I mean, the way you feel.
Yeah.
So, feeling good, feeling beautiful. I mean, if you're stressed out, it's not going to help. And I also think that people who are physically beautiful, they do say that it's a past life result of kindness. It's either that or it's the ability to visualize and appreciate beauty, I guess, you know. But natural beauty. But besides that, I don't. For me, beauty is much deeper. It's beauty is an expression of divine love. And beauty is something that both divine love and beauty are two things that everybody understands. No one's going to argue with that. You know, a beautiful child, a cute and beautiful animal, a gorgeous sunset, flowers, a beautiful breeze. No one's going to argue with that. No one's going to say, no, you're wrong, or this and that. So therefore, that is the truth. And beauty is the gift, and it's through divine love. Love, they're hand in hand. That's why I have I put a website called Love is Beauty is Truth. So I thought of that, and that's what I know that to be. So beauty is an expression of divine love, and that is truth. The two things that are true is beauty and divine love. Those
Yeah.
those two things are the only things that are actually true.
Okay. So, so what would you say? Because I know that you do natural cosmetics and everything like that, but
Right.
so for women, because I was talking to another friend of mine and we got onto this long conversation about women and makeup.
Oh.
Many women have different reasons for wearing makeup.
Yeah.
Some wear it to cover up something, but then
Yeah.
we got deeper, and he told me a story about um, a friend of his that's really gorgeous and everything, and he has never seen her without makeup. And there was a project that asked her to be in it, and she's like, sure. Um, but then they asked her, can we have you without makeup? Oh my gosh. He described that she was like, in a way, like, how dare you? Like, she just to this social like anxiety. Like, no, I
Yeah.
cannot be seen without my makeup. What I know what kind of that's all about and everything, but what is your take on that? On people who are, I've actually heard that they go to sleep with their makeup, they can't do anything without their makeup. Seen ladies
Oh,
at the gym with
yeah.
makeup.
Yeah.
So since you're in that, you know a little bit more about that. What is your take on that? Because that's
Well, okay, I know that kind of thing intimately because I went through BDD, which is body dysmorphic disease. Except that, I'm just like the other people that say exactly, it's like, well, it's not because I think I'm ugly, it's because I actually am, and it's just, I watched those videos and it really struck me like, wow, that's how I think. I have that, I went through that. It's probably a lot less now, but I definitely had that like very, very strongly when I was younger. And I was just like that. I was like, you would not be able to be like I would not be able to be caught dead. Like you could not catch me. I didn't sleep with it, but I was just like that. No, is that's probably a reflection on because of my childhood and things that I had to heal. Because when I was a child, my parents really wanted me to be a boy, and I was born in the year of the fire horse, which comes every 60 years. And in in Chinese astrology, it's supposed to be like very auspicious for a male and very unlucky for a female, because it's supposed to make them very headstrong, wild, uncontrollable, leader. So my mother, she did everything she could, and I'm almost positive that I felt everything directly from the womb. and she bought boys' clothes. So I know that that was one of the things that I had to heal, and I was face to face with that, especially through my twin flame, like how much I really did not like myself. Like I had a lot of self-hatred, starting with that. I mean, you can imagine it's pretty strong if that starts in the womb. So that's one of the things. That's one side. And however, I think I don't think that people should judge themselves too harshly. Like, if you want to wear makeup, I mean, I think women should be able to not wear it and feel comfortable. But at the same time, I don't think that you should be like, oh, you have to do it like this. You have to try to go out with it. Because I had my friends did that when I was younger. They said, oh, you need to love yourself exactly the way you are, blah, 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 blah. I totally disagree with that line of thinking. You need to be happy, and you really shouldn't like judge yourself harshly even with that. Like if you want to wear makeup and it makes you feel good, do it. It doesn't matter either way. It doesn't matter. If you want to change yourself, that's the same way with like physically. If you want to change yourself, I don't judge that. Like some people say, you have to love yourself the way God, quote unquote, God made you. That's not entirely how I think. I think that you are a result of your own thoughts over possibly many lifetimes. So if you don't like something and you can change it and it's okay and it's safe, then I think you should do it instead of trying to force yourself to like yourself the way you are. If you don't, and it can be done safely, I think that you can do that without judging yourself too harshly. So again, with makeup, I don't. If I want to wear it, I wear it. I wear it to the gym because I rehearse, and I make myself look the way I want to look. Except I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm definitely doing it for myself, and it makes me feel good. Now, the whole rest of the thing that I see on Facebook or whatever, but it's a very negative take on it, like especially from like a man, like some, I don't know if they're men, they were older, maybe they're young, but at one point they're trying not to be shallow, but they're very shallow. They're saying it's almost like in other words they're saying that a woman's worth is only on her appearance and whatever she's doing is only for men. It's absolutely not true. I don't do it for men, I do it for myself, and if I dress a certain way, it makes me happy. It affects my image of myself, and my image of myself affects my mind. So that's what it is. I mean, whatever you can do that doesn't harm other people, that makes you happy, you should do it, and you don't have to judge yourself or punish yourself and beat yourself up. Little girls like makeup, we like dress. When it comes to performance and dance, I would never want to see a performance with the woman not wearing makeup. It makes it so boring, and to go out like, oh, I don't know, tribal fusion, especially like and belly dance, there's tons of makeup involved and costuming and
Oh
things
yeah.
like that. Yeah, and I love that, and it takes you closer to becoming like the goddess, becoming something that's not human. It's like above, it's like you're a goddess, you're not even a human being anymore, and it helps with all the makeup and costuming. So then it becomes not just the way you look anymore, the way you made yourself look changes, and it changed the way you felt, and the way you feel is much more important anyway. So it shouldn't be important to people. It shouldn't be important, oh, she looks different without makeup. Well, it shouldn't be that important anyway. I mean, if you were not that shallow and super, like, what does it matter? You look this way with makeup, or you look this way without makeup. Why does it matter to you? It doesn't seem to matter to my cat. Like, my cat doesn't care. He doesn't even notice, So I don't think we should be too harsh on that.
Yeah. I think it's true. It goes back to like do it for you, do what makes you happy, and just forget about the rest. I think that's a good point to make, you
Right.
know.
Well, in the beginning, when I was younger, because I really did care so much, then it did become like a really big issue, problem, like a sort of like a nemesis, I guess. Like that was my big secret, and I realized how innocent I was. That was my big secret. That I thought I looked so different without makeup, and maybe I do. But that's such a like it's so light compared to the other deep dark secrets that I could have. It wasn't that I did something awful. It was like, oh, what's your deep dark secret? Oh, I look different without makeup, and that's how innocent I was.
Oh, that's too cute. Yeah, it could have been worse, right?
Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
Okay. That's good. That's an interesting way to look at it because I know, you know, some girls, some women, they get a lot of flack for that. And one of my best friends, she's a belly dancer, and she's an artiste. I mean, the way she just decorates her face, I'm like, wow, like that takes talent. Like, wow, it's amazing.
I mean,
So I
it's an
appreciate,
expression of someone's art, and it's an
yeah,
expression of how they want to look. So I don't
yeah,
understand why it has to be judged. I think things like that are judged because, and this is another thing that I hope will change it. That there's an extreme, uh, there's a lot of misogyny in the world. Like women are, wow, like it surprises me when I hear it and I experience it. And I try not to get seeped into it because I have a mouth. Oh my God, I can talk, and trust me, people will be like very angered because I know how to say things, and I'm not afraid to say things, but I don't do it because it doesn't benefit me. But when I hear other people and the way they see women and the way they really don't like women and they try to debase them and judge them, it's just really horrible and perplexing. But I can only say that it's because of fear. It's like I think that men just fear they they fear the female energy, and plus, uh, the media pushes like exploitation of women and stuff. So, and with me, even though I look the way I look and the way I decorate myself, I could appear to be one thing, but I'm really opposite. I'm not, you know. I respect myself, and then sometimes when I watch like the way men react to me, I'm thinking like, do they think that I'm dressing like this for them? It's not. It's like, wait, is it for you? It's for me. I
oh,
don't get that, and I hope that one day that will change because I have a very good. I have now I'm really much more conscious of it, even through belly dance, like the whole plight of women and how they have a lot to deal with. They and it
that's
can
true.
make, yeah, they have a lot to deal with. Women need a lot of kind of help in terms of like self-worth, self-respect, because they can end up getting hurt, and they do.
Very easy, very easy. And I think would you say that uh, our harshest critics is like it's between us, the women's. We could be very catty.
Well, I think the harshest critic is usually yourself, towards yourself.
Yeah,
And then because of that, you probably, I think that you attract that.
yeah,
Uh, I think people who are just like totally okay with themselves and really good, it doesn't really matter. Like I don't think that you can't get an argument when you're that strong. You don't get an argument with people. Like they just give up. They can't argue
yeah,
with you when you're that strong. But if you have a little bit of weakness, it opens you up to. And yeah, I mean, other people are hard to deal with. So, but you need to have a strong core, and you need to know when to shut people out. Like you just can't don't feel bad about it. It's theirs. Whatever is theirs. And remember, they are they are a holy and godly being within themselves. Like they don't need you to help them, really. And if
yeah,
they choose to live their lesson and be their way, let them be that way.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Love them from a distance.
Right.
Well, wow. This has been a great hour. I'm just filled with like great stuff. I've been like a student here, writing. We What else? What else? I was gonna ask you to briefly kind of, I have to touch upon dance because you dance.
Yeah.
Um, I have a different, like, I have a certain way that I can kind of describe dance, but I always get like excited when I hear other people describe how dance is for them. That's how my belly dancer friend and I connected because I was like, wow, that's how I feel. I haven't been able to verbalize it like that. So, what is your take on just dance in general, movement of the body, creating with your body?
Well, it's hard for me to describe that, but I'm aware that my body is connected to my higher mind. So whatever I do through my body, it's connecting with that higher mind that is also connected to source. So, and it's also asking myself, like, how much do I love myself and to prove it to me? It's really to me. But in order to get up in front of people, performance is a whole different animal. It's very stressful. However, it's a challenge because it's like, uh, when you dance, you can't hide anything. You can hide stuff through talking. You can say anything, you can lie, it doesn't matter. You are protected. You are totally open and unprotected when you perform. And even through your face, the audience can tell everything you're thinking, and you know that. So it's a question, and it's like spiritual growth. Like, how much do you love and accept yourself to be able to expose yourself totally? And it's really for me. But besides that, I knew that I wanted to dance since I was very young, like 5 years old, and it was inspired again by my twin flame. And I did flamenco for many years, and I like that because it's so like it's so fiery, and like you can be angry, and like it's so loud, and I still like it. But belly dance through tribal fusion, it's that's another side which I think I had to heal too. Like I had to, through my childhood and through my mother not wanting to me to be a girl, I really had to heal that thing, that sense of shame in being a woman, you know. And through BDD, I went through that. Like I felt worthless as a woman, actually. and but belly dance, well, tribal fusion and the classical style is different. But belly dance makes you. It's like the glory. It's full glory of a woman. And how beautiful can you feel? Like how much do you? And whereas tribal fusion is like more darker, is darker. But that's the way I grow. That's the way I challenge myself. That's the way I show people things. And for me, it's really a lot more personal than for other people, I guess. Performance is like a completely different animal. I just want to become really good and challenge myself every day. And I feel like I am speaking to my subconscious mind. Yeah. Plus it gives me all the endorphins and music, and I don't have to speak. Even though I have learned to speak. When I was younger, I wasn't really good at articulating what I said, but I almost feel like I was wiser then. I was wiser in terms of the faith I had. Now my intellect is a little bit more developed, so I have more ego in that sense. I have a much more developed intellect. Whereas when I was younger, I had a much more developed, maybe subconscious mind. And at that point, I wasn't very good at writing or things. I've gotten better now, but my favorite thing to do is really not speaking. I feel like I communicate so much more just by existing, like what I'm thinking in my heart. So
Yeah,
I can do that through dance.
I agree. So I love dance. Less words, the better.
I think so, yes.
Unless you have to do something like this, then you got to put that caps on.
Yeah, yeah. This is great though. I'm loving this.
Yes, it's time has flew by. I mean, it's been amazing. I always get really tingly, tingly, tingly feelings. So it's always great. It's that connection. It's a beautiful thing. Um, I don't have anything else. I mean, I know I can keep you here for hours, but I just wanted, Kareem, did you have anything else in addition to that? I know we talked some girly stuff. Kareem's not here. Okay. Oh,
No, I don't have anything to add. Well, this has been it's been a great experience, and it's been great listening to you. You have a lot to share, and I really value it, and I want to thank you for doing this for us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for asking me.
yes.
I really enjoyed it also.
And
And
if you could just leave us, with the message, just like, from where you see um, the human species going, just from your perspective, everyone have their own perspective. Just, what kind of message, what kind of thoughts do you have of moving forward?
uh, well, I think I heard someone else say that you are the only actor and everyone else is just supporting. And I do believe that. So you individually, myself, and you are the most important person in the entire universe. You are the universe. So respect that, know that, and heal yourself and trust, you know? And that's the way you improve and elevate mankind because you are the hub. Each person is the hub. It controls the entire world. And that's the way to change it.
Well said. Beautiful, beautiful. And Morganna, where can our viewers find you? I know you have a Facebook page talking about everything and anything, and a YouTube channel too. So,
I do more talking and communicating on YouTube. It's
okay,
Morganna Lefay, and there you can find links to like Google, and you can find like my skincare products, which is really good,
okay.
and some of my dance videos and stuff like that.
Yes, that's what I gravitate towards. So keep doing those videos. You're inspiring me to start
Oh,
something. So,
telling me that.
well, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure. I was super excited all week, and I know I was going to get all these tingly feelings. So I am very appreciative. We all are. Thank you for joining us, and we're not done with you. You know, we'll connect again soon.
I hope so.
So, yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. This was awesome. I really, really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Much love, bliss, and love. Bye bye.